Alright, welcome to the channel. This is going to be the first video about theology I ever posted. Well, not really. Post them on TikTok, my personal account though. Anyways, Epicurean Paradox. This is what this is about. See this on TikTok comments all the time. Not really all the time, but I just see it, and I'm going to prove why it's wrong and it's dumb to use in an argument or anything. So, brain rot. TikTok users don't spam it anymore. I don't know. Or you know how to refute it. So, Epicurean Paradox questions how an old, powerful God and all good God can exist when evil and suffering are present in the world. In this video, I'll show you some of the theological flaws that this paradox has. Now, I'm not going to go over the whole paradox because, I don't know, I just want this video to be around 8 minutes. But either way, I'm going to cover like around half of it, or even more than half, I think. So that should be enough to refute it anyways. So anyway, let's get to it. The paradox assumes that an all-powerful God can do anything, including things that are logically contradictory. God would never contradict himself, and God's inability to contradict himself shows his power over reality, not a lack of it. To ask God to contradict himself is to ask God to stop being God. His inability to do so yet again isn't a lack of power, it's a result of his perfect consistency. But don't take my word for it. I'm not an elite theologian or philosopher. Many philosophers like Thomas Aquinas and C.S. Lewis argued that God's omnipotence only applies to things that are logically possible. Let's start with what Thomas Aquinas says about things regarding the paradox. As Augustine says, since God is the highest good, he would not allow any evil to exist in his works, unless his omnipotence and goodness were such as to bring good even out of evil. This is part of the infinite goodness of God, that he should allow evil to exist, and out of it produce good. Let's break this down. Aquinas demonstrates that if evil exists, it must be compatible with a being that is entirely good. The paradox assumes that for God to be good, he must delete evil immediately. Thomas Aquinas argues that an infinitely powerful and good God, rather than eliminating evil, permits it not because he desires it, but to exist for the sake of the common good. The paradox indicates that the existence of evil proves God isn't perfect. However, Aquinas argues the opposite. The existence of evil and its consequent transformation into good is proof that God's goodness is infinite. In summary, the paradox defines good as the prevention of suffering. Aquinas defines good as the highest possible perfection. The paradox says evil is a limit on God's power. Aquinas says evil is a tool that God uses to manifest his power, turning tragedy into a happy fault. Now, this is what C.S. Lewis says about things regarding the paradox. His omnipotence means power to do all that is intrinsically possible, not to do the intrinsically impossible. You may attribute miracles to him, but not nonsense. This is no limit to his power. If you choose to say God can give a creature free will and at the same time withhold free will from it, you have not succeeded in saying anything about God. Meaningless combinations of words do not suddenly acquire meaning simply because we prefix to them the two other words God can. Nonsense remains nonsense even when we talk it about God. Let's break this down. Being all-powerful means you can do anything that can be done. It does not mean you can do things that are contradictions. It's because God is logical. A miracle is something that breaks the laws of nature, like walking on water. Nonsense is something that breaks the laws of logic, and God is logical and consistent. Just because you can put words together in a sentence doesn't mean you've said something real. Adding the words God can to the beginning of a silly sentence doesn't make the sentence stop being silly. Think about it like this. God is a God, of truth and logic. He cannot be a walking contradiction. He won't give you a choice and then take it away at some time. At the same time, his power is shown in the fact that the rules of reality actually mean something. If I ask you, can you draw a square circle? You would say no. Does that mean you are bad at drawing? No, because a square circle isn't a real thing. It's just a bunch of words that contradict each other. The paradox says God is weak if he can't make a world where we have free will but never do anything bad. But imagine playing a video game where you have total freedom, but the developers programmed it so that no matter what button you press, your character always wins and never gets hurt. The paradox logic is that this is the best game ever because there's no evil. Quick reality check, that game would actually be broken and meaningless. You don't actually have free will if the outcome is forced to be the same every time. For winning to actually matter, losing must be a real possibility. This is obviously a logical contradiction. In conclusion, this paradox is compiled of logical contradictions and it's proving nothing. Anyone that actually uses this paradox to make a point is ignorant. Here's my works cited. Summa Theologica, pretty nice. The Problem of Pain by C.S. Lewis. Theus Brooks, he's a nice guy. You should check him out on TikTok.